Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
You know, they start my program every morning with a disclaimer over at the radio station. Well, here's one of my own. Warning. The following program is produced and hosted by an old white man that believes in prayer, God, our Constitution, and our national anthem, and our Pledge of Allegiance. This old white man offers no apologies for content, and if you're offended, that's just too darned bad. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. As we say, hope you have a wonderful week, albeit a little rainy to start things off again. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on right now. And some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Let's go to the phone line right now and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I appreciate that, my dear friend, and I want you to call back a little bit later. Thank you so much. All right, sir. Hey, we've got to get a weather forecast on here, and I talked to Wheels a little bit ago. We've got one. Maybe towards the end of the week we might start getting into some sense of normalcy. The weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Hello, and good morning, Roger and the crew over there at K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway. They get there early in the morning to serve you. Now, I know. You got a lot of projects going on for spring. Well, they've got all the tools and equipment. And if you're not sure what you need, all you got to do is just call them up and ask them. They can help. 678-3122, K&R Rental. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like it's going to be another wet week. Here is your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies for today. A little bit breezy, winds out of the southwest, right around 6 miles an hour. We do have a 30% chance of rain showers today, and we are looking at a high of 58. Tonight, 80% chance of rain showers, slightly breezy, expecting a low of 40. Tomorrow, 40% chance of showers in the morning. Looking at cloudy skies throughout the day. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour and a high of 54. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies and 58. Thursday, sunny and 65. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, great job. Great job as always. And don't forget, K&R Rental rents their rental tools and equipment for both long and short term. So don't forget, they've got everything waiting for you at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn on the Burley Paul Highway. K&R Rental, 678-3122. Want to also quickly just tell you, about our friends at Daryl's Cleaners, and I had somebody the other day call me and said, "Do you really go to Daryl's with your?" I said, "Absolutely, have for years and years. All my Wranglers and my sports jackets, sports shirts, everything, take right in there to Daryl's Cleaners because they are the best at what they do." Absolutely, at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And for those of you that don't have time to do your own washing and drying and folding and ironing, just like Mom used to do, well, they will at Daryl's Cleaners. Go on and talk to him today at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Now, a couple of things we got to get on the air here this morning real quick. Number one, this week on Thursday is Lunch Bunch Day. Don't forget that at Denny's Restaurant. I might as well go ahead and give the ad for him real quick. Denny's Restaurant, of course, at 611 North Overland in Burley. And we're going to be over there on this Thursday at 11:30. Now, folks, listen, in order for anything to progress and grow and prosper, we need more people. So everybody bring somebody as a guest this week, and let's fill the place up at 611 North Overland in Burley. Denny's Restaurant. Great food. Absolutely anytime, all the time. The best of breakfast, lunches, and dinners and desserts. Great people serving you at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today. This is, of course, also Easter week. And, of course, Palm Sunday was yesterday. And then Maundy Thursday is on Thursday, and Good Friday, and then, of course, next Sunday, Easter Sunday. And I'm just going to say this. This is Holy Week. And we're going to be referring to it quite often during the course of my program this week. Now, over the weekend, did I get any calls from any pastors that wanted to participate in our program? No. Crickets. None. I'm really upset that the pastors and ministers and church leaders, aren't putting forth a better effort. Not any pastors, except for the one and twin, and I want to give him credit, Reverend Paul Thompson, has called to come on this program and did a wonderful job, too. And I can't understand when I'm giving them a forum. I'm giving them an opportunity to talk to not only their congregation, but to everybody in regards to Holy Week and social issues. Nothing. That is shameful. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and they have all, underline that word again, all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Absolutely located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Over 6 decades. Think about that. Over 6 decades of serving you with the best, as I said, heating, cooling, and electrical needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. This coming Saturday, I want you to put it on your calendar, and I want to see you there at the Rupert Senior Center at 702 11th Street in Rupert, the benefit dinner for J.R. Strunk. And J.R. has done so much to help others in the community, and I urge you to be in attendance. Please, they're going to have a lot of raffles and giveaways, and I'll tell you what, you better be there. From 4 to 6 p.m. at the Rupert Senior Center, a benefit dinner for J.R. Strunk this next Saturday. Please be there. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, a lady called me the other day and she said, "You really pick on the Times News on occasion, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, I do, only when necessary for some of the misspelling and things left out of the paper." Well, they did it again in this morning's paper. Now, over the last couple of days, there were some outstanding baseball games. Now, many of you might say, "Oh, well, that's baseball. I don't like baseball." Well, I don't care if you like it or not. Major League Baseball is something I like to follow. I follow the Chicago Cubs, make no bones about it, and a lot of people are Dodgers fans, etc. Today in the paper, in the Times News, there was not one not one mention anywhere of Major League Baseball in their sports section. Nothing. Nada. And that's a sports page? I said, Deanne, did I make a mistake here? You better look. And not even one synopsis of games won and lost. Not any standings or any. That's not a sports page. That's a joke. And today, also speaking of jokes, but nobody's laughing, it's tax day, April 15th. Kiss the money in your billfold goodbye. I'll tell you what, right now, with this being tax day, your billfold is a little bit lighter today. However, if you live in a red state like Idaho, there are more refunds coming back to red state populations than there are in blue state populations. And it's really nice to know that you're getting some of your money back that you lent to the government interest-free. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I would love to hear from you. I want to talk about the biggest comeback in sports that in my lifetime I've ever witnessed. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, because whether you're a sports nut or not, it bears talking about. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. If you're aching and a painin', well, give them a call and let them help you get you to feeling like you. Absolutely. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists there to serve you. And with the best of exercises and the hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in this area, all at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Give them a call, make an appointment, start to feel better. 678-1191, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I'll be right with you, caller. Don't get nervous. I'll be right there. Stand by. And while we have just a moment, I also want to acknowledge our dear friends over to Rain for Rent. The technology, technocracy, everything that's going on with irrigation systems right now blows my boots off. I mean, Jake and the rest of the crew at Rain for Rent, they have the telemetry annex boxes that you could be someplace completely at a dinner party or something, look at your smartphone and go, oh, I've got to change that pivot. I mean, these are amazing. The latest and most powerful pivot, latest control technology, all at Rain for Rent. Excuse me for choking. They're a Reinke Diamond dealer, and they urge you to give them a call or stop in at 134 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call Jake and the crew at Rain for Rent, 438-5065. Absolutely the best serving you, Rain for Rent. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. How are you?
I am peachy.
Yeah, I kind of thought so. Listening to one of your responses just a minute ago, and you said, why are not people calling in? Well, I'm always ready to call in. And I think that we need to acknowledge the fact that on the tax issue, that I think the conservative states are living up to their conservative title.
Yes.
We have elected people to represent us that don't want to spend their whole life in the Capitol, and they also want to be part of the Idaho that they are representing. And so I'm proud of all of our people who go back there and keep their promises.
I agree with you, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, that we're very fortunate, and blessed would be a better word, for the people that serve us here in the state of Idaho. And we've got some outstanding legislators here in the state of Idaho for this area. Representative Fred Wood, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and then we have Kelly Anthon. The list goes on and on. I don't want to overlook anybody and omit anybody, but we've got a great list of legislators, and they have addressed many, many problems problems. And like anything else that is a problem, the other side always is going to condemn and make fun of or make light of the way things are being done. The Medicaid issue is one of those issues. And quite frankly, it was great that the public of over 60% said we want Medicaid for all. But first, you got to come up with the money to pay for it, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and that's our pocketbook. But I don't know. One thing at least, if we take care of our own Idahoans and not fall on the federal government to take care of us, at least that's better.
Oh, amen. 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 I don't care if it's a Republican administration or a Democrat administration. Taking care of ourselves and better management in the state is far, far superior than some of the lunacy that comes out of D.C. Chris, I appreciate your call. It's nice to have you call in first and foremost this morning. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for letting me talk.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
More calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. And it's springtime. Don't forget it's time to spay and neuter your dogs and cats. Hey, listen, please take care of this. It's also the time to deworm your horses. And there's all the calving supplies. Everything over at Ark Animal Hospital. Again, at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. And the number to call, 678-1177. Dr. Bill and the crew serving you at Ark Animal Hospital, where they have warm hearts for cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, this Bernie Sanders is an insult to us old folks. They don't think we can remember back when you went and got insurance and you paid for it and the company stood behind you and everything was fine. But this new plan he's got where everybody's going to get it for free, that just isn't realistic.
Okay, Keith, I'm going to say something, and I don't want you to take this personally because it's not directed at you personally. It's directed at all of us that are a little gray on top and long in the tooth. It's all seniors. Every single senior in this country should absolutely be damning and condemning Bernie Sanders for his ludicrous, absolutely bounced off the wall like a ping pong ball ideas on one-size-fits-all Medicare and the ruination and destruction of private insurance companies. Once that happens, my friend, your coverage, my coverage, everybody's coverage in this country is going to go down the drain forever.
Yeah, now this is especially for Democrats who may be listening. How would you like to call a doctor's office and they tell you can have an appointment 3 weeks from today?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, even worse. No, even worse, Keith. Even worse, my dear friend. This is the story. Let's say that I need a very, very important surgery, or my wife, or you, your wife, anybody. And like what's happened many, many times up in Canada, you're put on a waiting list of, oh, gee, we'll try to get to you in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, whatever the case might be. Oh, I hope you don't die in the interim. That's the kind of one-size-fits-all Medicare that Bernie Sanders would employ. And I am scared to death that the gullibility of the American public is leaning towards that.
Yeah, and you know, I talk to a lot of people in Canada. Being an older person, I run into people who are traveling from Canada. They go south to Yuma, Arizona, and places like that. These people have the money to pay for surgery, and they'll come to the United States to get it done.
Yeah.
Because their life depends on it.
Absolutely. You know, I am so afraid of the minimalization of value of a person's life. I don't care who it is. And the one-size-fits-all attitude of Bernie Sanders' idiocy and others like Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, etc. I hope that the Democrats go down in flames in this next election. I hope that their party disintegrates with all their vileness and their stupidity. It's got to stop. I mean, this is a hurtful thing, not only for you, but on the other end of the spectrum, look at the Democrats stand on abortions. I mean, from the cradle to the grave, the Democrats absolutely have no caring for people whatsoever.
You know, this morning on Fox, they had Perez, who's the head of the Democratic, whatever.
Yeah, the DNC, Tom Perez, yes. Yes.
He won't come on and debate John Hannity or anybody else. He says the reason why he won't is because the upper echelon of Fox is unfair.
No, he's a coward. Let's call it like it is. Let's not beat around the bush chasing a rabbit that if you waited, you'd get him on the second run. This absolutely shows the cowardice of Perez, the Democrats, etc. They are basically lame-brained cowards, and I'm sick of this. I'm going to speak out a lot more on this.
Well, all I can say is do the math. Do the math.
There you go. Keith,
will know.
I agree with you. I got another call waiting. My dear friend, you and Nancy, we'll see you at Lunch Bunch on Thursday. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Count on it. Bye.
All right. Hey, I want a caller. I'll be right there. Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert on the east side of the square, right next to the youth ranch. Oh, man. They make all the shirts and the T-shirts and the caps and everything and the logos, and they're wonderful, and they help support our Made in the USA right there at Mad River Laser. And if you go in and mention that you heard this on my program, you could have a saving of up to $50. I'm urging you to stop in. Nicole and the rest of the folks, really good people at Mad River Laser, right there on the east side of the square in Rupert, next to the youth ranch. Mad River Laser. You stop in and see them today. Caller, you're on the air. Go, please.
Good morning, Zeb. How's it feel to be a useless eater? You know, that's what the Democrats, liberals consider all of us that are over, 65.
Yeah.
And because we're considered just vulnerable, they would like to get rid of us just like the babies. But could I, since you've been talking about a lot of different subjects, this subject, I think, comes up because it's been brought out in the news because we have all of this storm damage all over the country, all caused by global warming, of course, or climate change. And, George Mason, he was considered the founding father that was responsible for pushing for the Bill of Rights. And he made this statement at the convention, Constitutional Convention, that if we stop worshiping Jesus Christ as the Lord of the land, that providence is the term they use for God, would punish us with natural calamities.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned a few of these things. They want to do away with the old people. They want to do away, kill babies after they're born, and goes on and on and on. We as a nation, if you went to a court of law, Zeb, we couldn't prove that we're a Christian nation anymore. And of course, Obama said we're no longer a Christian nation. Of course, he was a Muslim and Islamic person. So you see this kind of stuff going on. God's got to be just
okay.
When he's going to come down on it.
All right, Adrian, stop for a minute. Let me jump in. I'm just going to say this, and then at the bottom of the hour I've got a hard break, and I'm going to take it in 1 minute. I'm going to say this. I have tried for months and months and months to get pastors and church leaders involved in this program to speak out on the societal ills. Nobody except one man had the nerve to do this. What is it with the ministerial associations? They haven't got the courage to stand up and speak for their churches, the Bible, and what's right and wrong in this country.
Well, the one reason is called the IRS. They're afraid of losing their 501c3 tax-exempt status. That's the whole deal.
Well, I'm just fed up with cowardice.
We're right inside of a church administration, and that's exactly. The IRS is jumping. They say, how high?
Yeah, and it looks to me like
we don't have this backbone. We just have a wishbone now, and we're a bunch of jellyfish out there, and it goes for the ministers. But as Christian people, we better be standing up and demanding that these things stop and expose the Bernie Sanders and what's going to result. You know, socialism, Zep, has never worked.
Absolutely. I got to run. I've got to run. I hate to cut you off, but I'm running late, and I got to give away some cookies. But you are spot on, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Right now, I've got to get the cookies given away from Sophie's Chatterbox over in Rupert. Yes, 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes. Bakery. What a bakery with all the cookies and the pies and the cakes. Beautiful, delicious wedding cakes, everything. And a restaurant. Ooh. You're going to love the food. Nice people at Sophie's Chatterbox. Now, put your thinking caps on this one this morning. I'm going to kind of give you an answer, but then you got to pick it up from there. That made sense. Actor Harry Morgan was on the show MASH as Colonel Potter. What was actor Harry Morgan's first successful TV series that he appeared on? Actor Harry Morgan starred as Colonel Potter on MASH. Outstanding TV series. And he did an outstanding job. But what TV show did he star in prior to being Colonel Potter on MASH? Give me a call, and you'll win the cookies at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quickly, give me a call. What TV show did Harry Morgan star in prior to MASH that was a very successful TV show? Okay? While I'm waiting for your call that I hope is coming in, don't forget, oh my goodness, all the equipment rentals and the equipment sales at Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Woo! All the lifting, digging, pushing, carrying, everything you need to do. And they've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, and they've got all the Bobcats, all the mini excavators. They've got it all for you, and the people with the knowledge to help you. And if you're not sure how to run the equipment, they got a big sandbox out behind. They'll teach you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location for the best. Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. What's the answer?
Dragnet with Joe Friday.
With Joe. Okay, now I'm going to be more definitive here. I'm going to give you the cookies. It was Dragnet, but what was the character that Harry Morgan played?
Oh, now you're making me think. I wasn't aware that's what you wanted. I thought you wanted the movie.
No, you said with Joe Friday. You said with Joe Friday, and I'm going to make a little bit of an insert there. Joe Friday was played by Jack Webb, okay?
That's correct.
But Harry Morgan played, and I'll just give it to you. He was Lieutenant Bill Gannon.
I remember that now that you mention it.
All right.
I remember Mom telling me about it.
All right, what is your name?
Wayne Vaughn.
Say that again, please.
Wayne Vaughn.
Wayne Braun. Wayne, you have just won yourself a dozen cookies, and God bless you. You call over to Sophie's, let them know when you're going to be there, and enjoy your cookies, because that is the right answer. Dragnet. I'll put you on another little spot. Do you know what he did first when he started in acting?
Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you, Wayne, and you're not going to believe this. He was a cowboy actor, and he appeared in many John Wayne movies.
Yeah, that's what I said. He was in a lot of westerns.
Yep, he was. All right, eat your cookies.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Oh, no, you're all right, sir. It was for the cookie contest.
All right, thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Love to hear from you. And I want to just say this. I haven't had a chance yet this morning. Wow. We all had a chance to witness history yesterday, and possibly the greatest comeback in sports. Yesterday morning at church, I was amazed as to the people I talked to that are not golfers. They are not golf enthusiasts. And yet they said that immediately after church they were going to run home and turn their television set on and watch the end of the Masters to see if Tiger Woods could complete the biggest and greatest comeback in sports history. After 4 back surgeries, his life in total turmoil, he had lost everything, virtually everything. His family, he'd lost everything. He was at the bottom of the barrel, and he fought and clawed and restored his image, restored his ability, and came back, and he defeated people half his age to win the Masters golf tournament yesterday. And I think it goes without saying that, yes, the Tiger is out of his cage. I felt so privileged to sit there and watch on TV a man that overcame everything, restored everything, and then beat everybody. That was really something to see as Tiger Woods won the Masters. And like many, many sports, baseball, football, basketball, anything, all of those folks involved said that was the greatest comeback ever in the history of sports. Don't forget, when your air conditioner breaks down during a heat wave, boy, you better call Ramsey Heating and Electric. Don't wait for a tune-up on your whole home comfort system. Absolutely. And Lennox Home Comfort Systems and Ramsey's are offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system, or ask about their low monthly payment financing options. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 678-0459, or go to them online at ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. Callers are welcome, and there is one. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Again, you brought up a real important, to me anyway, subject, and that was like Harry Morgan.
Yeah.
But one of the most versatile actors I have ever seen, and I would challenge you on this to dispute, would be Denver Pyle.
I'm sitting here thinking, and I don't think I want to challenge you on this, because Denver Pyle was known for his ability to portray various character actors or actor portrayals, and I thought he did a wonderful job. I think there were more than just him. I think Denver Pyle did a great job, but I think there were other fantastic character actors right at the top of the pile.
But he would actually, just change his image, just like that. And you had to think, who is this? And then it would come to you. But he could be a man in a suit, or he could be on a chuck wagon, or,
Yeah.
You just never knew what to expect.
But you see,
on Andy Griffith, oh my gosh, he was always great there.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you, Keith, I'm not going to argue with you on this because I think you're right. But I would say that you're not right just on that name, because I can name at least another dozen that come to mind, both male and female actors and actresses that never had lead parts, but if it hadn't been for their acting ability, the show, the movie, whatever, would not have been a success.
Okay, so I sort of won, but I didn't really win.
Kinda like that, yeah. All right, Keith.
Pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, dear friend. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know what I liked the most about that victory? It wasn't him winning the Masters. No, it wasn't the fact that he won and earned over $3 million yesterday winning that Masters tournament. No, that wasn't it at all. The fact of the matter that I liked the most was that immediately leaving the green on the 18th, he ran over, and I get emotional when I think about this. He ran over, and there was his family, his boy Charlie, his daughters, his girlfriend, his mom. And he picked Charlie up, his son, and just hugged and hugged and hugged him, much the same as what happened back in the 90s when Tiger won the Masters. and his dad was still alive, but really knocking on death's door. And they hugged, and they hugged. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. Called to talk about what you're talking about before the break at the bottom of the hour, if you'd like, care to.
Yeah, go ahead quickly.
I feel that disrespect for humanity, whether it be abortions or finding some way to basically euthanize the old people or those who are injured who can't be productive citizens anymore, who they feel they can't be, that are disrespect for humanity, and it goes right back to kind of what they were doing with the during the Nazi Party, because that's very big disrespect for humanity, you know?
Yeah.
They want to sit and call Republicans and Donald Trump Hitler-like and all this kind of stuff. Well, what are they doing? They're legalizing murder. They're going after old people now. They went after the babies. So what's going to happen when there is no one left to replace them?
Well, let's just stop right there for a minute. As we speak, there is another state, New York State, that wants to let physicians have a legal suicide bill so that the physicians, can go ahead and kill their senior and elderly patients. Physician suicide. And assisted suicide, I should throw that word in there. And there are 7 states already, Oregon, Washington, California, New Jersey. I can't think of all of them at once, but this is absolutely a heinous act, to the point where we're killing babies that are full-term babies and leaving them die on a gurney. And then at the other end of life, we are going now with the physician-assisted suicide. You know what is the matter with us as a society? We have left the concepts of God and the Bible, and we're turning down a road of nothing but sickness, pervertedness.
Oh, we let the wrong kind of people get in charge.
Amen.
And I noticed that deal on. Watched the clip it, and I don't remember what news source it was from or from who it was, but there's a clip it going through Dearborn, Michigan, and it had 2 imams there talking to a guy, telling him how they already got control of Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
They're going for the state of Michigan.
Yep.
And they have all the time in the world to wait, but they will take over the White House.
I know it.
They will go door to door.
Riley, everything you're saying, you're kind of preaching to the choir with me on this, because you and I are on the same page. I have warned about the Muslim influence. I have warned about Islamic influence with the Muslim Brotherhood, etc., for years. And now it's coming to fruition. And now we've got a sympathy campaign that's being extended by the Democrats to protect Ilhan Omar and her absolutely sick remarks about 911. I'm telling you, we have a major problem, but nobody's standing up and addressing it.
We do have a big, big problem, and it's going to be even worse if we don't do something soon.
Amen.
I got to run.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Most people are so afraid to address this. Most people are so afraid to say anything negative about Ilhan Omar, the Muslim representative in our Congress that has really made waves, anti-Israeli remarks. Somebody did something on 911 minimizing the death of 3,000 American citizens. Well, on this program, we're going to call it as it is. Don't forget, coming up on this Saturday night, it's the benefit dinner for J.R. Strunk. J.R. has always jumped in, and many, many, many times has been on this radio program trying to help others. Well, now it's time to help him. This is all going to take place Saturday night at the Rupert Senior Center in Rupert from 4 to 6, and I urge you to be in attendance. For more information, contact my good friend George Mass or Les Wilson for more information about this benefit dinner for J.R. Strunk. Right now, we are going to have a weather forecast as I just about tipped over everything on the table. Whew, that was close. Weather forecast being brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And you know, of course, they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And the number to call is 312-0957. Now, Dr. Pickup, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Hunsaker, they really know hearing and they know hearing health. So I urge you, if you're having problems, give them a call and find out what is the matter. It's easy. 312-0957. Right now, we'll tell you more after Gina's weather.
Looks like it's going to be another wet week. Here is your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies for today. A little bit breezy, winds out of the southwest, right around 6 miles an hour. We do have a 30% chance of rain showers today, and we are looking at a high of 58. Tonight, 80% chance of rain showers, slightly breezy, expecting a low of 40 tomorrow. 40% chance of showers in the morning. Looking at cloudy skies throughout the day. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour and a high of 54. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies and 58. Thursday, sunny and 65. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebedee.
Oh, man, I'll take it. I want to warm up. I know Deanna and I were talking about that this weekend. We're sitting out on our bench in front of the barn in a light mist and about 40 degrees. People looked at us a little strange. Anyway, don't forget the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And again, they're ready to serve you with a hearing screening to help you with your hearing. 312-0957. All right, now it's your turn. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. Did you hear about what's going on in Laguna Beach, California? The police department in Laguna Beach, California, they got some new painting on their cars. They repainted some of the cars and they got some new ones. And when they had the cars painted, they put police. Hold on, caller. They put the word police in red, white, and blue. Very patriotic. And then they had the flag on the front part of the car. Liberals are complaining that the patriotic colors are not inclusive. I'll say that again. Liberals are complaining that the patriotic colors, red, white, and blue, are not inclusive, and they're also too aggressive. And they complained, a very small number, complained to the police department, and they said, you've got to change this. No, we don't want any more red, white, and blue. It's too aggressive, and it's too pro-American. Fortunately, the police department basically told these people in simple terminology, shut up. We're going to keep the cars as they are. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, you know, Hitler's chief propaganda guy, Goebbels, you tell a lie often enough and people believe it. And, of course, it was after all of the Russian collusion and so forth, 42% of the people in the nation believed that Trump and Russia had colluded on the last election. And yet there was absolutely nothing all the way along. It's been proven, even the Mueller report. But it all goes back to the fact that we got all this propaganda from the fake news on everything, whether it's about Christianity or whether it's about the Muslims and their perverted theocracy and all of this kind of stuff. What's being taught in our schools, I think, is really important, Zeb. They're not teaching the Constitution. They're not teaching the history. And just recently, this is something for this time of year. If April showers bring Mayflowers, what do Mayflowers bring? Well, the answer to that's pilgrims. But, you know, I've tried that on young people. They have no connection between Mayflower, the boat, the ship that brought the pilgrims over, and the pilgrims, because they're not being taught that in school.
Yeah, let me jump in. Adrian, wait a minute. Let me jump in, Adrian, please. I got to have kind of a two-sided deal here with you. It's not only just what you're talking about, and you're spot on in what you're saying. It's also recently there have been many, many schools across the United States that have said, and I've got a copy of their story over on my desk, that, the Pledge of Allegiance? No, it's too time-consuming in our curriculum. It takes 17 seconds. to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And for some lame brain, absolutely destitute of any common sense teacher or principal or any superintendent to tell me that it takes too much time out of the day to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, that is complete idiocy.
Well, absolutely. And, of course, our universities, the recent survey I read, there's only one out of about 12 conservatives that are professors at nationwide at our universities. So what are they turning out in the way of teachers? Well, they're turning out good little green socialists, and that's what's coming right to our schools.
Yeah.
And our parents are not aware of this, I'm sure, by and large. And it's just sad that we continue to allow socialism to be taught in the school. They can teach about Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam, but you can't say a word about Jesus Christ and the Holy Bible.
I agree. And this week of all weeks, I'm going to keep on talking about Holy Week, Easter week. Adrian, I got another call waiting, and I've got to get my commercials in. Thank you so much for your call again. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about Perkins Restaurant and Bakery at 800 North Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness. They're going to be open for your convenience on Easter Sunday from 6 until 10. Absolutely. They've got a strawberry festival, strawberry entrees, delicious strawberry pies, all kinds of great desserts from Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley. Perkins, they believe in being the best buds with your taste buds. Stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning and thank you.
Yes, good morning, Zed.
Hello, Tony.
Many of these institutions are taxpayer funded. Why aren't the taxpayers complaining about this?
Because we have lost our ability and our enthusiasm to protect this great United States of America and what it stands for.
Well, you got so many people up there that they're uneducated. They just don't understand that once they lose the freedoms under the conditions that they're being taught, they're not going to get that freedom back.
Well, yeah, but it's not only that, Tony. You know this as well as I do. Look at Bernie Sanders with this idiocy on one single-payer Medicare for all. Well, Medicare for all is also going to equivalent to Medicare for none because it's going to be very selective. It's going to be kind of well, you're old, you've got this disease, bye, die. That's the attitude that it's going to have. And when we see the ruination of private insurance companies, boy, we are in trouble.
Well, pretty soon the well's going to go dry. Who's going to be paying taxes if everybody's on the Medicare or Medicaid and welfare and all this crap? And Bernie Sanders is worth I don't know how many millions right now, and he can go anywhere in the world for medical care. The other people are going to be dying waiting in the doctor's offices for services.
I can't argue that point. I agree with you. I think it's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to America. Well, in general, I would say that someone like Bernie Sanders is the worst thing that ever could happen to America. And I do not understand, and I mean this, I do not understand why the Democrats, whether it's Bernie Sanders, whether it is somebody as low and evil as Buttigieg of Indiana, or whether it's O'Rourke, I don't understand how they have any followers whatsoever.
Well, I'm thinking about this. There's going to be many Democrats that either won't vote for another Democrat or are going to switch over to the Republican Party because many of them got 401ks. They've got businesses that are successful. Their bank accounts are growing. And I'm hoping that's what's going to happen when this next election comes. There's going to be just an overrun for the Republican Party.
I hope so, but I'm telling you, the Republicans better get a broom and a big dustpan and clean up their act and start acting like they want to serve their constituents instead of acting like weak-kneed Barney Fifes. I'm sick of it, and I mean it.
I don't blame you, Zeb. I've got a lot of doubts in my mind. What's coming down the road isn't going to affect me because I'm way past outlived my parents already, so...
Well, every day
my age.
Every day that you're here is a blessing for us. God bless you, my friend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I mean that. Right. He's a dear, dear friend. Hey, don't forget a big spring tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You can save money. Put the best of tires on your vehicle, be it your car, pickup, SUV, and ride and drive safely knowing that you've got the best of tires on your vehicle. Absolutely big spring tire sale. And I also urge you to check out all the front end alignment. After the winter we've had with the potholes and everything else, please get that front end aligned and the best of shocks and struts and brake service, batteries, all of this with the 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We got to run to the news right now from CBS. They're going to come in and destroy everything we put together for the last hour. We'll be back with Richard Manning coming up at 9:06. Oh my, here we go, hour number 2. Holy smokes. Zeb at the Ranch on Monday, April 15th, tax day. I know, I hate to sound negative, but we got to call them as they are. Balls and strikes right here on the program. Hey, we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, celebrating a great big spring tire sale right now. You stop in and see your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers today, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, Wheels has got this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Get on the route service, and they'll come by once a week, and they'll get your garbage, and you can stand there on the porch and wave goodbye to your garbage with Western Waste. Absolutely. It's easy. It's easy. All you have to do is call them at 734-6969, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, the best. Hey, real fast, I want to urge you to remember our dear friends at Patterson's. You got a little bit of a tax rebate coming back. Oh, treat yourself. How about maybe with a car stereo and speaker system? Or maybe a home theater system? Or maybe a brand new TV set? Whether it's Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, whatever. Stop in and see Patterson's today at 421 East Main in Burley. Really, really nice people, Curtis and Lorena. Number to call if you have questions before you stop down, 678-6997. And don't forget, they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6 at Patterson's on East Main in Burley. Really nice people. Oh, and again, I want to remind you, this coming Sunday is Easter Sunday. And after church, don't forget, stop in, because Perkins Restaurant and Bakery at 800 North Overland in Burley is going to be open from 6 in the morning until 10 that night. Absolutely. And they're going to have all the different strawberry desserts, like it's a strawberry festival at Perkins Bakery and Restaurant. Going to be great. Going to be fantastic. Take your family down and enjoy Easter dinner at Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, 800 North Overland in Burley. And real fast, and I know he's chomping on the bit, but I got to get these words in. I want to say thank you again to our dear friend, Joel Heward. Excuse me for the frog in my throat. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff in Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Holy moly, they just so nice serving you and your family with smiles on their faces, knowing that absolutely they want to serve the families with the best possible support and comfort, always within the highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. It's a part of life, and that's why we're telling you that we all should be prepared and contact them for pre-funeral information so that we can all take a lot of the stress and worry from our family. Call them today at 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. The next man that's on my program is, and you've heard him many, many times on my show, and he's absolutely, I think, one of the best at explaining what's going on in politics, lays it out in a very simple and very understandable fashion, and that's the president of Americans for Limited Government, my friend Richard Manning. Good morning, sir.
Thanks for having me, Zeb. I always appreciate it, and for all those accolades, we'll recall that last week I told people that Texas Tech was going to be the national champion, and that obviously wasn't true in terms of the NC2A. And if I had money down, I would have bet a long time ago that Tiger Woods would never win another major. So I would have missed that one also. So while I may know some stuff about some things, apparently I don't know a lot about sports, so be wary of my sports predictions.
No, I tell you what, I agreed with you that I thought Texas Tech would win, and also, of course, this is long before you started being on this program, I said that during the turmoil in his life and the loss of his family and really hitting devastating lows with his personality and everything, I said also that I thought Tiger Woods was history, done, finata. Wow, that was the greatest comeback in sports, and I've been in sports all my life. I've never seen anything like what happened yesterday.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing, and the interesting part, and this is there's a life lesson here, because he's a little bit older. The younger guys were all trying to get a score on 12th hole. And he just played it safe. And what he did is he played within himself. He got birdies on the holes that you could get a birdie on, but he didn't push it. He didn't take risks. And while other people were taking risks in high pressure situations where you typically grip the club a little tighter and don't hit the ball as well, he was basically playing safe in the most dangerous situations, but going for pins in the more easy situations. And you know what? In life, patience is a virtue. You pick your places where you can win, and you go for it there. And on places where you can't win, you kind of just try to survive.
I'm just kind of a big old softy, I guess, because it wasn't the money, it wasn't winning the tournament, it wasn't anything like that meant the most to me. What really meant the most to me was what I saw as a change in his personality. He actually was smiling on various occasions during the match. I mean, he was out there on the course smiling on different occasions to the gallery, and then after he won and sunk the putt on the 18th, he looked to his family, ran over and hugged his kids, picked up his young son Charlie and hugged him. That was very reminiscent of what took place back in the 90s when he won the Masters and his dad hugged him before his dad passed away.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of symbolism there. Whether if you wrote it up, people would sit there and say, "Oh, that's pretty schmaltzy," but it was real life. Imitating art in some respects. I think you're right. From a personality standpoint, always intense. Never always kind of seemingly angry around the course. And as he came across, and you never really know because they don't show you, how the microphone's on in every shot and the like. But he certainly came across as being somebody who's much more comfortable in his own skin,
yeah,
than he was before. And you know what? that's a great thing.
I totally agree with your summation on that. And again, I think we all witness something, regardless of whether you're a golfer or not. Honestly, yesterday, Richard, I leaned over in the pew before the church service started yesterday, and I was talking to some non-golfers. Non-golfers, they don't even like the sport. And one of the gentlemen says, boy, the minute we're done with church, I was going to stick around and have coffee, but we're running home to see if Tiger can win that tournament. People were really glued to what he was doing.
Yeah, it's and once again, I tend to put things into political perspectives a little bit more than I should, but I have a really hard time reconciling this notion that's being pushed by the left that we're an inherently racist nation.
Yeah.
When everybody was pulling for Tiger.
Yeah.
It wasn't it. The last time I checked, he's black and he's Asian. Neither one of those are white. And everybody was pulling for Tiger because you know what? People love a good story. People love somebody who's basically beating the odds. They followed the soap opera that's been his life for the last 10 years. And at some level, it's a story of redemption. While it isn't a story of Christian redemption per se, because we don't know that, it is a story of redemption. And people love a story of redemption because we all know that we would all like second chances.
Amen. Wow. That was, you start a church, I'm coming to listen to your sermon. That was absolutely perfect.
A fitting analogy as we're in the middle of Holy Week to be talking about a story of redemption, even though it isn't one that's a traditional Christian redemption story, still redemption nonetheless, and the desire that all of us have to be redeemed.
Absolutely. Okay, now I'm going to throw this at you, old buddy, because I want to hear what you have to say. I think that Donald Trump, and I'm going to say this, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to say that Donald Trump right now has all the top pieces on the chessboard. He understands the moves that the others are going to make, and he is ready to go checkmate and stop the game, because when he offered to take all the illegals into the sanctuary cities like San Francisco, Chicago, etc., all of a sudden, you know what hit the fan, because all those good mayors, why, they don't want all these illegals. All of a sudden, their sanctuary policies don't look so good, do they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. What he did is he essentially, said, "Fine, you want to have open borders, and you get to bear the cost of the open borders." Particularly in light of the fact that the restrictions that Democrats put on in terms of spending from DHS don't allow us to put enough beds on the border to be able to handle the inflow. I was reading on Thursday last week that literally the Border Patrol took 50 people, 50 human beings, who had come to this country who had no idea what they were. They're truly strangers in a strange land, and they took them up to Phoenix, and they dropped them off by a Greyhound station by the Phoenix airport, and said, "Here you go." And what are these people going to do? What are these people going to do? I'm going to take this from a different perspective than the normal. We can't afford to have all these people coming here, and because I think all that's been kind of done, and everybody knows that's true. But take it from the other side. If you're somebody, if you were in a foreign country, no matter how you got there, if you were in a foreign country, you didn't speak the main language, and the people in uniform went and dumped you onto the street of a major city and said, "Here you go, fend for yourself." How would you do that?
Yeah.
Would you be scared out of your mind? I mean, what kind of cool system that we created, have the Democrats created, forced upon us, where we can't give these people care, vetting, and treatment when they get across the border, because we're forced to release them to meet the next wave. What kind of crazy system is this? That isn't compassion. That's just cruelty. And to force that to have to occur because the Democrats refuse to create sane laws and fund and provide the funding to meet the needs for the laws they've got. It demonstrates that they don't care about people, but they care about are trying to score points and essentially stack as many states as possible for census purposes, so they can create voter imbalance in the Electoral College and elsewhere.
Absolutely.
That's what they're doing. And it just makes me sick.
Well, along with what you just said, though, there's also, to that nickel that's laying on the table now face up, let's turn the nickel over to the other side of the story. It's not fair to the illegal aliens and or those immigrants, if you will, but look at the residents of the proposed cities. It's not fair to them because of having all the extra people of concern, the extra crime rate, the extra housing, the extra food, the extra school space for their children. I mean, it throws the whole city, everybody, into a turmoil.
Yeah, we're essentially admitting a mid-sized city every single month across our borders for illegal immigration. And there's not the social services aren't in place. Nothing is in place, and wherever those people land, they're going to be taking spots from people who were already there, and so you have automatic resentments that occur. And quite honestly, it doesn't create safe spaces. It creates spaces where people are angry and disillusioned. We cannot allow a system to exist that essentially floods our cities and our rural communities with people who we have a responsibility, maybe not a legal responsibility, but certainly a moral responsibility to try to help in some way. I mean, these are people who came here. Some of them are criminals. Okay, let's take the people who are criminals, drug dealers, and the like. Let's take them out of this system. Talk about people who just came here for economic gain. They shouldn't have come, and they should be shipped back. But if they're here and our laws won't allow that to occur, then what are we going to do? Let them die on the streets?
Yeah.
And yet that's essentially what the Democrats say should happen. And with the sanctuary cities, Donald Trump's been very clear. He says, hey, if you guys are prepared to house illegal aliens and you want to give them sanctuary from our laws, then you obviously want to have these people here. So we're going to send them to you. And we're going to put them into your neighborhoods, and they're going to stress your social system. They're going to stress your ability to take care of your indigenous population. And people like Cher, who has been outspoken on a number of issues from the left, suddenly discovers that, our people need to be taken care of first, sounding like she's wearing a red MAGA hat.
And everything you said is really the truth. And my bitterness, my own personal bitterness over this issue has erupted many times on the air because we have so many people, even right here in southern Idaho, we have so many people that need help, and they've fallen across some real dire times. And our money is not going to help them. No, it's going to help refugee programs of people coming in and or illegal aliens. And that's where I opened the refrigerator door and I checked. The gallon of milk called human kindness in my refrigerator is empty. I want to help us first.
No, and I think that's a natural and the right impulse. It's I think I've talked to you about this in the past, but my church has a pretty aggressive ministry in Honduras. It's a country that has abject poverty. They don't have clean water there. There's a lot of things that need to be done better in Honduras, and their government gets a lot of money from our government, and I don't know where the money goes, but it doesn't seem to make it onto the streets where the people live. So we put a lot of effort into Honduras, into that ministry, and it's part of what we do out of Christian kindness. But the challenge obviously is we have rules. We have a system that's set up to be able to handle a certain number of people coming into our country legally. And and when that system gets overrun because we have so many people coming illegally, it's more than we have more people scheduled who are projected to come this year illegally than we allow to come legally. We allow about 1 million to come legally. We have about 1.2 on the projection who are going to come illegally this year. So when you look at that, you say, wait a second, our capacity to handle this load has been expanded beyond its breaking point, and now we need to do something about it. That's and quite honestly, under the law, the Democrats have, Congress is going to change the laws unless Democrats agree to, and they are not inclined to agree to do anything on the law that I think I would like. So, given that, the president has certain prerogatives he has to explore, and some of those prerogatives are, and I'll just tell you a simple one. You have to house these people you can house these people for a certain number of days. It doesn't say the tent city has to be on the border. So you want to build a tent city to house people? Build them around Nancy Pelosi's house in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
Put a tent city there. People in that way, when they leave the tent city, they're in a sanctuary city. Obviously, it's a city that is set up to try to deal with the influx of illegal aliens. There's plenty of wealth in the city, so all the liberals who live there who are imposing these laws on the rest of us can invest locally and invest in helping these illegals directly on the streets of San Francisco. And that would be it seems to me, a perfectly fair thing to do. And of course, as you noted, the mayors of San Francisco and Oakland and other cities that have been outspoken in favor of open borders are now suddenly really, really upset because they've got a massive homeless population that they don't know what to do with now. And this is going to exacerbate that situation. Well, guess what? You're the one who wanted open borders, and so you're the one who gets to have the results of that and the social system disruption of that. And if you don't want that, then work with us to try to make it so we don't have open borders.
Real quick, and I've only got 2 minutes left, Richard, but tie this together for me. No, I'll tell you what, I'll cancel my question in favor of the caller. Caller, I'm only going to give you a real short 15 seconds. Go ahead, please. I'm almost out of time.
That's all I'm going to need. I wanted to know what the guest thought of the U.S. having facilities on the Mexican side of the border to keep the people there. Thank you.
All right. Respond to the caller, please, Richard.
I think that's ultimately going to be the answer. We have to make the terrorist cartels, terrorist organizations. We have to respond to them that way. We have to treat them that way, and we have to create our facilities for handling people on the Mexican side of the border in order to make it so we don't get the requirements to basically bring them inland just because they came across the border. So I think that is the logical solution that we have to get to.
There were so many other things I wanted to mention to you prior to the end of our segment, but the one thing I do want to say as we're out of time is I want to extend to you and your family, this being Holy Week, a very blessed Easter, and we'll look forward to having you back on next Monday. Thank you for all you do. We really appreciate it.
Happy Easter to you also, Zeb, and all your audience. Take care, and just have a great Easter week. Bye.
Thank you very much. President of Americans for Limited Government, Richard Manning, a dear friend of this program. We appreciate him. Thank you very much. Wow. I had so many other things I wanted to mention to and with him, but we ran out of time. And I want to also remind you again about Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric, and schedule a tune-up for your whole home comfort system. Ha, ha, ha. And if you're in the market for a new Lennox home comfort system, they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. Or all you have to do is call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459, or go online, ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Really good people. Also, real quick, I want to remind you about we're going to have Jeff on the air. I think he's scheduled to be on our program Thursday over at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More. And it's a great big spring clearance event. They kind of went into the warehouse and they said, whoa, we've got limited quantities. Let's just let them go at rock bottom prices, up to 48 months on approved credit. My goodness, you better get in there. Flooring and carpet and mattresses. What are you waiting for? You can get, listen to this, a Simmons Beauty Sleep Mattress, Queen, was $9.99, now $3.99. Wow! Save money. Meet nice people. Let them work for you. Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Talking about nice people, I also want to add to the list over there our dear friends at Let's Ride. The weather forecast has been so rotten lately, nobody wants to get out, but now all of a sudden there's a tinge of hope. Maybe towards the end of the week we'll start seeing warm temperatures and sunshine. Get out on a four-wheeler and enjoy the great Idaho outdoors. And make sure you check out all the four-wheelers at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. Oh, they've got a showroom full of fun. Absolutely. And all the accessories and a service department to keep you running. They're the best. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It's true. This is where the fun is sold. Really good folks. Hey, over in that neck of the woods or that part of the desert, whatever, don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Absolutely, Highway 24 in Rupert. Easy to get to, and they really, really care. We've been working with them for many, many years now, and they're dedicated and responsive to your needs and very thoughtful about protecting you, your family, and your business. Please get a hold of them. All you have to do is call the office, make an appointment, 436-4424. That number again for Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, 436-4424. Good folks. Wow, there's a gentleman that has been on my program a lot in the last couple of years, and the reason he's been on my program a lot in the last couple of years is because he's the best at what he talks about. He's an author with some of the best books you've ever heard of and read, and of course he's also a nationally recognized expert on foreign policy and energy. That's why we've got him. Dan Perkins, good morning to you.
He's not answering this morning. I've tried a couple times already, but I'm still trying to get a hold of him.
Well, keep working at it, my young friend. Don't let your finger rest. You keep on working, okay?
Will do.
All right, thank you. Maybe Deanne can come in, and here she's already here. My lovely bride is Johnny on the spot, and we'll find out where Dan is. In the interim, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Love to talk with you, so give us a jingle. You have probably heard that Ilhan Omar, the Muslim Democrat representative, along with her friend back in Congress, Rashida Tlaib, they seem to be two very protected species. And no matter what they say, no matter whose feelings they hurt, especially between our country and Israel, it's okay. And now I notice that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats are kind of forming a protective shield, if you will, around these Muslim ladies. And it's almost like these Muslims in Congress, are a protected species. And they're turning the blame on what Ilhan Omar had said in regards to her very calloused remarks about 911. Somebody did something on that date. And they're turning this back on the President of the United States and blaming him. And they're coming out, Pelosi is, with more heightened security arrangements for these women. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I am fed up to the gills with the protectionism in this country for Islam and Muslims in particular that are now involved in our government. I see this as potentially the most dangerous thing or item that could happen to the United States Congress or Senate. And they're getting special treatment. Pelosi condemned President Trump for his critical tweet of Omar for describing the attacks on 911 as something some people did. Well, it was very callous by her to say this, and she has made other remarks that are very offensive, and she has stood up for everybody but Israel. And I just don't understand why the Democrats have staked out their claim that now they're going to be great friends of Islam over and above our ally Israel. Makes me sick. And it also makes me fighting mad. Your thoughts, give me a call, please, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Bet you we won't hear from Mike Simpson on this. Anyhow, calls are welcome. Give me a jingle, please. I'd love to hear from you. While I am waiting for your call that I think is coming in, and I don't know what happened to our dear friend Dan Perkins, but Deanne's working on it. She's trying to find him, as is Wheels. I want to remind you about Jeff and the crew over at Magic Valley Irrigation. Oh, they are busy. Every year this time they get busy, and they can manufacture the wheel line elbows, and they can take care of all your irrigation system service and repair. They really know their stuff, and they say to all the farmers, ranchers, and dairymen, just give us a call. Just give us a call at 678-1301. Once again, Magic Valley Irrigation at 4040 East 500 South of Burley with Jeff and the crew. Number, you call them, 678-1301. All righty. Calls are welcome and appreciated. Yes.
I have Mr. Perkins on the phone line for you now.
All right, I will tell my lovely bride, Deanne, they have found him. The lost is found. Good morning, my friend Dan Perkins. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. And how are you today, sir?
You know, Dan, I'm really good, except I've got some worries, and that's why I wanted you to come on the program this morning. You are an expert on energy, and you have proved that many times on my show. But right now, I think it's almost like committing political suicide, my own personal opinion, if the Trump administration allows for a tax hike to go on gasoline prior to the 2020 election. What are your thoughts?
Well, I've been asked a lot about that in the last week, and I'm going to give you my honest answer. I trust the president. I didn't trust Barack Obama when he told us that there were almost $1 billion worth of shovel-ready jobs to improve the infrastructure of this country. And it never really happened. It went to cover unions and the politicians and everything else, and we never turned the shovel. Donald Trump has been very adamant, even before he was elected president, that the infrastructure of the United States has deteriorated to the point that we're almost, in many facets, a third world country. Now, I look at it from the standpoint of what can we do here? And it appears to me that the tax on gasoline is a consumption tax. And rather than put it on an income tax where everybody would pay a percentage of their income and pay a tax on that, regardless of their usage, consumption tax based on the usage of gasoline will be used. That money will go into the Highway Trust Fund, matched by local, state and local trust funds, to begin the process of rebuilding our infrastructure. Now, under the terms of the Obama administration, we as an economy and we as citizens with incredibly high unemployment rate, stagnation as far as wages and growth, were not in a position to pay more taxes. But now we have a situation where we have a growing economy. We have the lowest jobless claims, weekly jobless claims numbers in 50 years. We've got a 3.8% unemployment rate. We've got more jobs vacant than we have people to fill them right now in the workforce. And we're trying to find more. We have a different set of economies involved here. And so I think if we truly do have a consumption tax, and the money is going to go into the highway trust funds to rebuild bridges, roads, highways, I think it's worth paying the tax. Now, I will tell you that for 37 years, I live in the New York metropolitan area. I now live here in Southwest Florida and have since 2009. And I occasionally, regularly go back to New York to visit friends and clients, and I look at the condition of the roadways. I look at the bridges that are being shored up with timbers. There's disasters waiting to happen, and so I think the idea of putting on a tax. And by the way, what is your price for a gallon of unleaded gasoline where you live, Seth?
Right now, just down the road from my place, it's $2.93.
Okay. Do you remember that in the Obama administration it was $4.25 or higher?
No, I certainly do. And by the way, Dan, I'm going to stop you right there because I want to talk more about this. We've got a really bad line. Let me talk to my engineer really quick. Wheels, do you have that clipping on the air? You're hearing that in your headsets?
I am too, sir.
I wonder if we couldn't call Mr. Perkins right back and maybe establish another line, because this one is really clipping out on us. And my wife came in and said the same. So I'm going to ask Dan if he would mind if we'd call him right back. Call him back, Wheels, quickly, and we'll establish a new line. Go ahead, please.
Will do, sir.
Thank you. While we're waiting to get Dan back on the air, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric. Don't forget, call Ramsey Heating and Electric to schedule a tune-up for your whole home comfort system. There you go. And talk to them about Lennox Home Comfort Systems, offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. Or ask about low monthly payment financing options. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. And don't forget, terms and conditions apply. See the dealer for details at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Wheels, do we have him back? He's still working on it, I think. And it was just to the point where it was clipping out, and I was having a hard time, and I think you folks in the audience were having a hard time hearing him, and I don't want to miss anything. He's got some excellent... go ahead, Wheels. Is he there?
Yes, sir, he is.
All right. Dan, I am so sorry for that, but evidently sometimes the phone gremlins kind of ate that line up a little bit. Thanks for your patience. I appreciate it.
Can I tell you a real fast, quick story?
Yes, sir.
I was on a show recently where the same thing happened, and the host said to the audience, "It's the Russians."
Well, I don't think it's the Russians, but sometimes it's very faulty phone lines in America. Dan, you were asking about the price of fuel. You were asking about what we're paying here, and diesel is probably about $3.10, $3.11 right now. And I go through, just in my own circumstances, I go through about 3 full tanks of diesel every week because of my job and because of my other business interests. And it's getting a little prohibitive again. When diesel had slipped below $3, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have some more money in my pocket. Now we're looking back at exorbitant prices again on diesel, and how much of a tax increase do you think they're going to ask for that's going to hurt me even worse?
Well, I don't know that the administration has come out publicly and said this is what they want, that this is actually what they want. I know what I've heard over the grapevine, and they're talking somewhere between 15 and 20 cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So how many gallons in your tank?
It's a 28-gallon tank in my diesel pickup.
So if they went up, say 20 cents on how many gallons did you say? 28?
28, yeah, roughly.
28 gallons?
I beg your pardon?
You say your tank was 28 gallons?
Yeah, roughly, yes, 28-gallon tank, yes.
So you're talking $5.60 a fill-up.
But then that's an additional, and 3 times a week, let's round it off and say an additional $20 a week, plus the price of gas. You know it's going to go up, and you're going to have an increase in state taxes, and you're going to see an involvement of higher at-the-pump prices. We could be seeing as much as 75 to 80 cents increase.
Well, as I said, I don't know that. I won't dispute that, but I also don't know it to necessarily to be true.
Uh-huh.
I do think that if I understand what he's talking about, is that this is truly going to go for fixing highways, and bridges, and tunnels, and airports, then it's a good investment in our country. But if it's going to get eaten up like Obama's $870 billion in shovel-ready jobs that went down the toilet, no, I'm not interested in doing that. So I want to see how it's going to be spent specifically before I would absolutely support it. But I do believe that consumption is a better way to do it than just taking it out of increasing income taxes that everybody pays, regardless of whether they use energy or not, in terms of gasoline and oil.
Well, there's been a lot of talk here in the state of Idaho about going on a similar program, consumption tax, if you will, to help the roads and the bridges and everything. And I know we need the infrastructure fixed, but my biggest worry is, Dan, and you know where I'm headed on this, once you pay a tax to the government, I don't care who's in office, I don't care who's in power, it seems to get moved out of that respective drawer and go elsewhere. Well, I did an interview last week, and a gentleman was talking about something similar you said. He said, in my state, we have a lottery, and according to the terms of the lottery, some of the money goes to education, and some of the money was supposed to go to highways and bridges, but it never went to highways and bridges. It was always, as you said, siphoned off to do other things, and some of it didn't go to education. So that's a function of politicians not living up to their responsibilities. And in that situation, I honestly believe if we have people that are manipulating the tax revenue for whatever gain there is, we have a responsibility to replace them and get rid of them. And maybe that's what will be one of the things that might happen if we do in fact get an increase in gas taxes. But I've got to see a lot more before I become an absolute supporter of this. I want to make sure that there's a lockdown that can only be used for highways, bridges, and tunnels and road improvements. I don't want to see it going off for salaries and benefits for teachers and all that other stuff that Obama did, and never get that building. I mean, would you say
if you think about your house, and 10 years ago you knew that you were going to replace your roof? You're going to have to within the next 10 years. And 10 years came, and you didn't put any money aside to pay for fixing the roof. And today your roof is leaking, and you don't have the money to fix the roof. How are you going to get it fixed?
Yeah.
You're going to have to borrow money. You're going to have to do something. So understanding that maintenance is a very important factor. It's in my old home state of New Jersey. It is a huge problem because nothing was maintained. There was no money for it. It's what's going on in Venezuela. There were no resources set aside to maintain the pipelines and the refineries, and they're all breaking down, and they don't have the money to fix them. I served on the board of trustees for an all-boys prep school in New Jersey, and I took over the board, and I was meeting with a nonprofit to get some money, and the president of the nonprofit looked at me and said, "Mr. Perkins, you've got a wonderful educational institution here, but you've deferred your maintenance for so long. It's going to take a lot of money just to get you back up to a safe environment."
All right.
I said, "You're right." Well, that's what's happened with our bridges and our infrastructure. We've been promising about fixing it, and in that 10 years that Obama didn't do anything to fix it, it's gotten 10 years deeper in trouble and in shape, and now we've got a very serious problem. And we have to step up to the plate and fix it. We have to pay for our past sins. As much as we might hate it, we made bad decisions. Now we got to pay the consequences. We got to fix them.
Dan,
because it's important for us because a thriving economy has to have a reasonable way to get around.
I agree.
And if we can't, we're not going to survive.
I totally agree with everything you said. And honestly, I think it would be, if that money does go to this project, that project, whatever, bridges, roads, interstate, whatever, I'm all in favor of it. But there's a caveat there. And the caveat is the stupidity of the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes and others of her ilk with green energy that are trying to push the stoppage of the private vehicles, stoppage of transportation on the roadways, stoppage of using our highways at all. And so we're going to pay a higher tax, and they don't want anybody on the road privately with transportation. They want to see the end of fossil fuels. We're kind of damned if we do and damned if we don't.
It's the absurdity of what they're proposing shows the ineptness and the lack of fundamental basic economics, and they don't really care. They think it has to be done. And the idea that we're going to tear down every building and rebuild it in the United States, no, and the Congressional Budget Office now says it costs about $33 trillion. And I don't trust the Congressional Budget Office, because that's $33 trillion over the next 10 years. What they're talking about doing is a fundamental change in our economy. It's going to go long past 10 years. So it's absurd, and I don't think that the American people are buying it. And I saw a poll this morning on favorables versus unfavorables on AOC. 7% favorable, 93% unfavorable.
Wow. We have a caller with a quick question for you, Dan. I've got to get this caller in. And caller, please, you're on the air. Go ahead with Dan Perkins.
Okay. On this road tax and the tax money they collect off the diesel and gasoline to help maintain the roads, what about the money that goes to bike paths and parks and sound barriers that has nothing to do with the roads?
Go ahead, Dan.
Great question, because what you're talking about is a diversion of resources that were not originally intended in the Transportation Trust Fund, and so we're spending this money to as you said, put in bike paths and sound barriers and things like that, which are not inexpensive to do, and we're leaving the roads that run next to them in deplorable condition while we build these beautiful $1 million a mile wall sound barriers, and we're not fixing the roads themselves. So it's the wrong priority, sir. I think we have to say, look, the first thing we have to do is we have to fix the roads and the bridges. We have to make our highways and our bridges and our airports safe for Americans to travel on. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And I forget about the sound barriers and all that stuff until we get the roads in a decent condition. And when I said earlier, we haven't done anything much in 10 years. We're spending the money on other projects, as you pointed out. We need to get back to focus on taking care of the infrastructure that we have.
Amen.
It's something that we have to do.
I couldn't agree more, but I think my worries personally are, again, lifting and pilfering the money out of one drawer to go to something else, and I just hope there's some safeguards. Dan Perkins, my friend, recognized expert on foreign policy and energy. He proved that again this morning. Thank you for taking the time to be on our program. We'll look forward to having you back. Dan, thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Jim. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Nice man from Florida, Dan Perkins, and I'm certainly glad that we reestablished that line, and we're better able to hear him on his interview. Thank you very much. Whoa, weather forecast. Yes, sir. I almost forgot about it. Well, not really. I had the paper right here, and it says, hey, our weather sponsor for this hour, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. Oh, boy. They're looking forward to tomorrow. They are. They're looking forward to tomorrow because right now they're up to their elbows in alligators with all the tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, bookkeeping services, everything. They have been providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years. I got a feeling that tomorrow, don't call them. They want to sleep in. I don't blame them. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Here now is Gina with the weather.
Looks like it's going to be another wet week. Here is your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies for today. A little bit breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 6 miles an hour. We do have a 30% chance of rain showers today, and we are looking at a high of 58. Tonight, 80% chance of rain showers, slightly breezy, expecting a low of 40. Tomorrow, 40% chance of showers in the morning. Looking at cloudy skies throughout the day. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour and a high of 54. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies and 58. Thursday, sunny and 65. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, look forward to Thursday. I'll be outside all day long. Hey, listen, thanks. And we appreciate the great job that Gina does on our weather. And don't forget, you'll appreciate the great job they do for you at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Accounting services that are the most professional in serving you, your business, and your family. Get a hold of them today with offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Wow. Busy morning coming up next hour. What have we got? We're going to be talking, to an attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation. And we're going to be talking about a circumstance that took place recently with a gentleman that wanted to get a personalized license plate. And the government stepped in and said, no, you can't have it. And you're going to find out it's just really nothing to get upset about. Very generic, and yet the government thought, can't do that. And Attorney Wen Fa is going to be on our program at 10:06. Then at 10:30 this morning, the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. So don't miss any of that. Don't forget on, of course, Thursdays, we have a segment on our program called A Child's World. And we want to say thank you to all of those folks over at A Child's World. And boy, I tell you what, it's a family store, and they're waiting to serve you. They've got all the spring clothing, and they've got the games and the puzzles and the toys, and they've got the Cherokee scrubs. They've got everything for you. Stop in today and see them at A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they've been our major sponsor on Cassia County School Days for a long time, and we appreciate them. A Child's World, and bringing you Cassia County School Days on Thursdays at 10:10 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. We are going to take a little break and come back with the Pacific Legal Foundation. Again, a reminder, Lunch Bunch will be this Thursday at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. We urge you to be there at 11:30. Bring a friend, bring a neighbor, bring a relative, get along. That'd be nice. And we'll look forward to having everybody be there. Right now, we're going to go to the CBS News. I'll be right back. Oh, good morning. Boy, there's some dark black clouds overhead. Might get some more of that rain. My goodness sakes, I'm sick of rain. Anyhow, towards the end of the week, we might start seeing some sunshine, warmer temperatures. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on right now. And don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to have our guest with us in just a moment. Don't forget Dino's Septic Service. They do a job that you and I don't want to do. Now, I do not want to think about maybe leaving this program and going out in the back and having to pump out a septic tank. Ooh, know, are liquid waste removal or sewer and sink drain lines clean? No. They do it with a smile on their face and great service to you. Dino Septic Service, and the number to call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638, with that big truck that comes in the yard with the sign on the side that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino Septic Service, you get a hold of them right now. Well, back to the phone line, and this next story from the Pacific Legal Foundation, to say the least, has got my dander up a little bit, and we're very fortunate to have attorney with Pacific Legal Foundation, Wen Fa, on the telephone with us. Good morning, Wen. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
I'm looking at your smiling face on a picture they sent me of you, and you look like a pretty nice, clean-cut, all-American boy.
Wow, thanks for that.
What in the world is going on with license plates that now it seems like the government is going to control what we can have on our license plates or not? Give us a little story about John Kotler.
Yeah, well, John Kotler is a professor at the University of Southern California. He's a First Amendment expert, and he's a big fan of the Fulham soccer team, the soccer team that's based in London. So he wanted a license plate, a personalized license plate, to celebrate his favorite soccer team. Their official slogan is COYW, which stands for Come On You Whites, referring to the white color of their jerseys. But the DMV, the California DMV, has a regulation that prohibits offensive license plates, but it's offensive. The word offensive is used to denote offensive to a DMV bureaucrat who happens to be reviewing the license plate. And they said, no, you can't have the COYW license plate because it has racial connotations. So they denied him the license plate, and that's why he's filing a First Amendment lawsuit.
Okay, Wen, let's break this down little by little, inch by inch, foot by foot, like a Abbott and Costello comedy routine. Come on, you whites. What would have happened, and this is purely perspective of your opinion, what would have happened if John, his team would have worn black uniforms, and he would have had, come on, you blacks? Would the same thing have happened?
Yeah, presumably. I mean, that's one of the things about the DMV's regulation is who knows what will happen. You basically have these DMV officials being the final arbiters, the first and final arbiters of free speech on license plates. So they have, we've had stories about how the DMV implements this regulation. One of the things that came out was if you have red on your license plate, that's automatically flagged and usually rejected because it was associated with some sort of gang activity. So you could be cheering for the Cincinnati Reds, the baseball team, or your name could be Fred, but you're not allowed to have that on your license plate just because the DMV deems it too offensive.
Oh, my goodness. So someone like in Nebraska, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, they wear red, and it's a sea of red jerseys every Saturday during football season. So in Nebraska, when they've got a salute to the Nebraska football team, that would be deemed illegal.
Well, certainly if they want, I know the one of the chants associated with the Nebraska Cornhuskers is Go Big Red.
Yep.
So certainly if they wanted to put that on their license plate the same way they have, a decal or a bumper sticker, that would somehow be illegal because according to the California DMV, I'm not sure anybody else besides the DMV believes that, if you're a Nebraska fan, then you must be supporting gang activity.
Wen, let me ask you this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and Wheels over at the station, we got just a touch of feedback here. Ride that, if you would, please. Wen, if I put a license plate together on personal thoughts that I'd like to have represent my vehicle, is it only 7 letters? That's correct. Isn't it just 7 letters?
I believe in California it's anywhere between 2 and 7 letters.
Okay. So if I put together a bumper a license plate that would say something like Bless USA with only one S on Bless USA, would that be permissible?
yeah, again, that's up to the bureaucrats at the DMV. I hope that would be permissible. I think that should be permissible. But then again, I thought the same thing about John Kotler's situation. Just because he wanted a license plate supporting his soccer team, didn't see anything wrong with that. But you never know what the minds at the DMV might conjure up. There's a recent article by the LA Magazine that said that they've rejected all sorts of applications, even ones that were supporting one's family relatives because they didn't like their names. It's ridiculous, it's arbitrary, sometimes biased, and it's flat out wrong and unconstitutional.
Well, and when I was thinking also, honestly, I was thinking about this one this morning. God loves, G-O-D, L-U-V-S, God loves. And I know that there's been another circumstance in another state where their Department of Motor Vehicles said, nope, you can't have anything with God anymore. Why is it that these people are allowed to stymie our free speech and our free expression?
Well, that's the thing, is that we don't think that they should be able to stifle our free speech and free expression. The First Amendment applies all over the country. It applies to government actors like the DMV. The government has no business censoring our speech and shielding our ears from messages that we think are too offensive. Most of us can handle that. And, when it does, when the government censors messages, it does so in arbitrary ways. Like in California, your example just reminded me. They have, they allow license plates that say, Christian, Muslim, other religious sorts of license plates, but not if you say Jew or Jewish or something of that sort, because they deem that to be too derogatory, too offensive. But it's just flat out unconstitutional how they prohibit messages on that basis.
I'm going to go a step further on this, and I'm going to ask you if you think I'm way out in the middle of the water on this one, but there's been so much animosity and so much hatred, especially with the Democratic Party this year, whether it's Cory Booker or whether it's Kamala Harris or whether it's O'Rourke or any of them. There's been so much hatred and apologizing for being white and condemning white in our society. Do you think that played a part in it where it said, come on, you whites, that it might be a slam against, another slam against us as white Caucasians?
Well, I think what played into it is just that the officials at the DMV weren't really thinking. They feel this is a huge profit, a huge revenue generator for the DMV. They get about 250,000 of these license plate applications every year. They use the money that they get from these applications to support environmental programs and other programs. But when you have basically 4 officials reviewing that many license plates, I think they just rely on shortcuts. And shortcuts, as you know, can often be wrong. For example, the one particularly funny example, I think, is the DMV rejects license plates that say 5-0 because they think that could be somehow impersonating a police officer. But even more ridiculous than that is the fact that they allow 5.0 on license plates on cars with a 5.0-liter engine, if that somehow makes a difference.
Oh, my goodness.
They just have to rely on all sorts of shortcuts to make their job a little bit easier, but they do so in a way that violates the First Amendment.
When you are known with Pacific Legal Foundation as really being one of the top-notch attorneys that is, you work often with First Amendment cases, loss of our freedom of speech. On a scale of 1 to 10, over the last, let's say, 15 years in this country, how many freedoms with the First Amendment have we lost? And how scared are you that it's going to get a lot worse?
Well, I think we've seen, especially over the last 5 years, sort of a slow creep against the First Amendment rights of everyday Americans. And that comes in many forms. But one of the things that I've seen is this notion that basically if you have someone saying offensive speech or speech you don't agree with, you can just go to the government and get it censored, get it removed. And that's a dangerous idea. But overall, to answer your question, I'm not very fearful, because I think that we have, people like myself and like my colleagues at the Pacific Legal Foundation, and we have Americans who are willing to stand up for their First Amendment rights, not just to vindicate their First Amendment rights, but also the First Amendment rights of other Americans as well. And I'm confident that we will prevail in the long run because I think free speech is something that everybody can get behind.
Yeah, you mentioned something that in a way, I disagree with you on, Wen, and I'm going to tell you straight up why I disagree. I think that our American public today has been cowed into a feeling of, oh, gee, I better not say anything, or somebody might sue me, or, oh, gee, I'll just let it ride because I don't want to take the money out of my pocket to protect myself, or, oh, gee, I'll just go with the flow, and I'm not going to make any waves. I think that we're looking at a society today that's afraid to stand up for itself.
Well, that might be the case with some people. I don't mean to speak for everyone in their particular situations, but it's certainly also the case that we do have brave Americans like John Kotler who, despite all else, are willing to stand up for their First Amendment rights. And the great thing about the court system and about our judicial system is that, if we get a favorable ruling for John Kotler, that doesn't just affect him. That sets precedent, and it affects the First Amendment rights. It frees up the First Amendment rights of people in California, in other states, all across the United States. And that's why we're so lucky to have such a brave client in John Kotler.
Absolutely. But money-wise, when people are looking at the implementation and the instituting of a lawsuit, a lot of people go, oh, brother, I haven't got that kind of cash reserve. And that's where people like you come in that really can help bail these people out and still try to keep their freedoms.
Absolutely. We recognize that concern. That's why Pacific Legal Foundation is a non-profit, donor-supported organization that litigates for individual liberties across the United States. We have a great track record, including 11 wins before the Supreme Court of the United States. And our last major Supreme Court victory was actually a First Amendment case coming out of Minnesota. So we hope, obviously we're taking it one step at a time with every case, but if this case gets up to the Supreme Court, John Kotler has argued before the Supreme Court, and we hope to secure a First Amendment victory for John Kotler in any court.
What would you tell my audience this morning, Wen, that if they feel like their First Amendment rights have been violated or stymied or somewhat curtailed, what kind of a procedure should they take from that venture or from that standpoint, not only to get a hold of you, but how to stand up for themselves? What would you tell the people?
Well, absolutely. I would say the first thing is don't get discouraged. Sometimes the government will violate your First Amendment rights or other constitutional liberties, but there are people like the people at Pacific Legal Foundation that are willing to help, willing to vindicate the First Amendment rights of all Americans, and you can find us at pacificlegal.org. We're a nonprofit. We can't take every case, but the cases that we do take sure do make a whole lot of difference. And, you wouldn't just be standing up for your First Amendment rights. You'd be standing up for the First Amendment rights of all Americans.
And when would you agree with me on this, that today the climate, if you will, at most universities and colleges really is dangerous right now on free speech. And many, many students are afraid to speak out because somebody might say, well, you got to go stand over here by that park bench. That's only a free speech zone, or you can't say that, or you can't say that. Or we're going to have roving bands of people listening to what you say, and if we deem what you said is unkind or unthoughtful, we're going to nail your hide to the barnyard door. This is not the America that I grew up in.
Yeah, certainly. There's definitely a movement in colleges that basically was what I was alluding to earlier about the way to deal with offensive speech is censorship. I mean, that's just not America. That's just not the First Amendment. I agree, to the extent that there is a free speech zone on college campuses, that should be the entire college campus.
Yes.
I mean, that's all should be a free speech zone. You shouldn't have a little free speech zone confined to one corner of the college campus. The whole college campus, that's a place for people to exchange ideas, to exchange thoughts, to debate their points of positions. And that's That's what we need on college campuses.
Well, how do these schools get away with it? How do these Board of Regents get away with it? How do these presidents of these colleges and universities get away with it without having massive lawsuits filed against their incompetency and their idiocy when you tell someone on a college campus, oh, I overheard you tell your girlfriend this, or I overheard you in the gym last week say that, and we're going to have our study group look at it, and we might expel you from college. Holy smokes, when this isn't America.
I think you're certainly right about that. I think college campus litigation is very difficult just based on the fact that some of the students are there only for a few years, and litigation, as you know, can sometimes take longer than that. But certainly, you know, this thought that you need to censor offensive speech, that's something that we're trying to get at with this case. And the precedent that we set there could, in fact, be used in a lot of other areas, not just on issues related to the DMV, but on college campuses as well, because there as well, you also have government officials censoring speech, wide swaths of speech, just because they disagree with the message.
You know, what's interesting to me about this whole story about John Kotler, you said that he teaches at USC, and USC has had more than their share of trouble and problems with freedom of speech on their campus. I just hope you really win this case, and John Kotler stands up proudly holding that license plate.
We hope so, too, and thank you for your encouragement.
I wish you the best of luck. Please come back and let us know. And, again, tell all my audience how they can follow this story on your website, please.
They can follow the story at our website at pacificlegal.org.
All right. Wen Fa, attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation, thank you very much. God's blessings to you, and happy Easter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you imagine? I mean, here's a gentleman. I've got a picture of it, by the way, right here, of his soccer team that he's a big fan of, and he just had a license plate that he wanted that says, "Come on, you whites." And the Department of Motor Vehicles in California said, "Oh, no, it's purportedly hostile, insulting, or racially degrading. You can't have that." What right does the Department of Motor Vehicles have to regulate your free speech, and what is good taste or bad taste? I hope that Pacific Legal Foundation wins that court case and Mr. Kotler gets his license plate. Give me a call. Excuse me, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. A couple of reminders. First of all, we're going to have Lunch Bunch this Thursday at 11:30 at Denny's Restaurant and America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley. And I urge you to call a friend. I urge you to call a neighbor. I urge you to bring somebody with you. Let's fill the place up on Thursday and have a great, great, successful Lunch Bunch. And our thanks go out to some of our gift certificate sponsors, and they are Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, Denny's, all of those good folks. We thank you so much. That's coming up this Thursday at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. The offer still stands that I made last Thursday.
Oh, and the offer was
a gift certificate for the one that brings the most guests.
Yeah, you know, like if you bring a whole busload, we're going to be tickled pink.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll give a gift certificate to the person that was basically the quarterback of that movement and buy their lunch.
Well, no, just give them a gift certificate. You can buy their lunch.
Well, I meant like the gift certificate could buy their lunch. You okay. Don't let me go too fast for you there, Tonto. No, I think it's a great deal, Doug, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. We've had some. What do you think about this license plate deal? I got to ask you real quick about the Department of Motor Vehicles basically saying "thou shalt not" or "thou shall."
I been busier than a one-armed paper hanger and haven't been able to listen.
Oh, Dougie.
I know it. When I'm talking to customers, it's hard to listen to you and hear what they're...
Well, there's an easy way to take care of it. Just tell your customers to come back.
That's right.
Okay. Thanks, Doug. Hey, have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody, when your air conditioner breaks down during a heat wave, oh, yuck, and you better decide to call Ramsey Heating and Electric and schedule a tune-up for your whole home comfort system. Absolutely. And if you're in the market for a new Lennox home comfort system, at Ramsey Heating and Electric, they're offering, along with Lennox, up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. Or you can ask about the low monthly payment financing options. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details. Absolutely. Also, another reminder that this Saturday, April 20th, do not forget, and it would be a favor to me if you all showed up. And I'm talking about the benefit dinner for J.R. Strunk over in Rupert. It's going to be this coming Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Rupert Senior Center at 702 11th Street in Rupert. And it's going to be a dinner, and they're going to have a raffle, a lot of raffles, and JR has done so much to help other people in the area with other fundraisers for other folks and other items. Please, I urge you to help him. Benefit dinner for J.R. Strunk, a dear friend of this program, and it's going to be this coming Saturday, the 20th, and that's 4 to 6 p.m. at the Rupert Senior Center. For more information, contact my old friend, George Mass or Les Wilson. There you go. Now, we're going to send this back over to Wheels at our main studio, and then in just a very few minutes, we're going to come back with the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. Don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, my. Hey, it's only about, 9 days away, the Minnecacha Chamber of Commerce Women's Expo for 2019. It's going to be on April 24th at the Burley Best Western Inn and Convention Center, starting at 9 in the morning and going till 4 in the afternoon. Oh, boy. Hidden gems, explore, engage, empower. It's something for everyone. Ladies, leave your husband at home and enjoy a great day at the Women's Expo. Don't forget, tickets are at the Chamber office. They're only $20, which includes lunch. And this great event, the Women's Expo, being sponsored by the Idaho Central Credit Union, Intermountain Cassia Regional Hospital, Wright Physical Therapy, and Tailored Living, coming up on the 24th. The Women's Expo put on by the Minnecacha Chamber of Commerce. Wow, it's Monday, and a lovely lady is waiting in the wings right now, very patiently waiting to come on our program and really have a great show about gardening. And here she is with Green Thumbs, Dirty Knees, and Vicky's Country Gardens, the lovely Miss Vicky over in Paul. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, Zeb. It's nice morning out there so far. No, the rain's quit. Got some good moisture. It's nice and warm. We just unloaded a truck of trees and shrubs, so we're getting ready.
You know, we've had so much rain and the winds last week. I'll bet you it ripped the seed right out of the ground. What's the status as to what happened last week?
Well, my greenhouses are still standing. I was pretty impressed with that. Because I'll tell you what, I was one nervous lady in here with them. But, yeah, that wind was bad. It was really tough on everything. But, of course, not anything much was planted yet. So it didn't have a chance to do too much damage to anything like that. But, yeah, the wind is always a tough one in this area this time of year. We're supposed to get it again tomorrow. Not quite as bad, I don't think, but it's saying windy, and I've found they never miss that.
Right. You know, now,
weather guys.
Vicky, last week we talked a little bit about what you can be planting at this time and what can go in the soil and what's going to grow. What about all the rain that we've had? I mean, has it been good, bad, is enough, or what are your thoughts?
actually, it's really good for everything. The lawns, you don't not having to put sprinklers on or anything yet. Lawns are greening up nicely. For gardens and that, you're getting some good deep moisture so that when you do plant, that moisture will come up and keep everything going good. Just don't get too carried away, because it also takes the soil temperature back down. It cools the soil back again, when it gets wet and kind of these cool nights. So soil temperature is one of the most important things in a garden when you're planting seeds or planting tomatoes or anything. The warmer the soil, the quicker they germinate, the better they do. And if you get too carried away and get stuff in too early, a lot of people are wanting to try to plant corn. Well, corn's just going to sit there and rot. It's not going to do any good. The soil temps are not anywhere close for corn or anything, or beans or anything. Peas is great. Peas love this weather. Onions like this weather. Cabbage, broccoli, that type of thing. Lettuces, radishes, all those kind of things love this weather.
So you're saying, is there a rule of thumb like 75 and sunny? Is that kind of a rule of thumb as to when you can start planting the other crops?
Well, you've got to have more than 1 or 2 days of 75 and sunny. You need to have some days to have that temperature. If you're in a hurry and you're wanting to get stuff planted a little ahead of time, and you've got certain things like your tomatoes and certain things you want to get coming, going in a little earlier, you can put the black weed mat down on the rows where you're going to be planting, stake it down good, and let the sun warm that ground. You'll jump that ground temperature 8 to 10 degrees by putting that on there.
Wow. Vicki, have you noticed in the, let's say last 5 or 10 years, has there been a resurgence of interest of gardening, or is it at a status quo? Is it dropped off? I mean, what's going on with gardening?
Oh, no, I think there's a lot of our young folks are starting to get into gardening. They're wanting to do their own canning. They want, they're kind of looking at that safety aspect. Not so interested in running to the store and buying that stuff and running the risk of that E. coli thing. They're kind of wanting to do their own, their own gardens. But we're getting I don't see a bit of different. I mean, if anything, gardening's growing every year.
Okay. You mentioned canning, and that's something that I would like you to elaborate on a little bit. There is always a fear of home canning not being safe. I mean, how safe and secure are you with home canning and home canned food? Somebody gives you some beans or some whatever in a jar. What are some of the things to watch for?
Well, there's certain types of things that have to be pressure cooked. You have to do a pressure cooker on them. String beans is one. That's why I don't mess with string beans. I don't do a pressure cooker thing. But string beans and some of your vegetables going like that, when you're canning them in jars, you really need to pressurize those. Salsas and that can just be water bathed, which is not a pressure cooker. You just got to make sure those lids seal. You got to make sure that you just have to check with the extension agents, and they run classes all the time on sealing. But I can all the time, and I haven't killed anybody yet.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked this is just recently we were at a grocery store, and I'm not going to mention names or anything, and grabbed some salsa, brought it home, and the lid just turned. I mean, there was no pop, nothing. I said to Deanne, maybe we shouldn't use that salsa. What are your thoughts?
No, you want to make sure, because some people will go in and loosen those lids, just, I guess, for honoring us. I don't know why else. Or they don't get sealed just right when they're doing them. But you always want to check those lids, because if that seal isn't there, and when you open that, you don't hear that pressure release or that pop, I would not eat it.
Yeah.
That's not a safe situation at all.
Let me ask you this. Now, I was watching a television program Saturday, and one of the segments they had on this program was about gardening, but it was up on tables, for lack of better explanation, so that a lot of the elderly and those that were having a hard time getting down on all fours and getting their knees dirty, they could enjoy gardening. What about that type of gardening?
Raised gardens are really popular for a lot of people because, I mean, it's a better controlled environment. You're up there to where the weeds are more controlled. You've got a certain kind of dirt in there usually, but it's just much easier. It's lots easier to walk by and pull a weed than walk by and look down at it and go, yeah, I'll get that one later when I want to come back and bend over. It's just a much easier way of taking care of a garden. A lot of people are going to raised beds, getting them up off the ground 2 or 3 feet. You don't have as much trouble with the rodents getting into them. I mean, it's just a lot. I mean, you just have to keep your fertilization up, and pay attention to the nutrient needs of your plants.
Well, what about, though, the original getting into that raised gardening? I mean, what do you have to do? A lot of building? Is it going to be a lot of cost to get started that way? Explain that to me.
Not really. There's different ones. I mean, you can buy the raised garden beds, go buy the kits and just slap them together. Some of them are like a PVC type situation. Most people just go down, they just pick up like 2 by 10s or something like that and just make their own, or plywood. There's a lot of ways of doing it. Just basically building a box that's, depending on what you want to grow, if you're going to want to do some like spuds and some of that kind of stuff, you need them about 24 to 30 inches deep.
Okay.
If you're just doing shallow crops, you can get by with 12 to 14 inches on them. And then you just put in a good soil mix and plant your seeds and go to watering on them. If you're bringing them up off the ground, I recommend putting weed mat underneath so that the weeds that are in the ground can't come up through.
Oh, okay.
So put a layer of weed mat down, then put your boxes on top of that, and then fill with dirt.
Yeah, well, I was really...
You can use just regular dirt with compost in it.
Okay.
Or you can do a dirt mix with potting soil mixed with it to loosen it up and lighten it up, too.
What about the bottom, as far as just kind of like a chicken wire or something so the water goes on through? I mean, explain that a little bit.
Well, if you're coming from the ground up with them and, putting them, leaving them right on the ground, you don't even have to put, that's why I say put the weed mat down.
Okay.
That keeps your soil put together. The water can go through, the weeds can't come up. But yes, if you're doing whatever you're doing, you've got to have drainage in those raised garden beds. They have to have good drainage.
Okay. Now, the other item that a lot of people have asked, and I had a letter here this morning, a little quick note email. Zeb, have Vicki talk about flowers right now. Is it too early to plant flowers? What's going on in the floral world?
Well, perennials are able to go out right now. Pansies are one of my all-time favorites for this time of year. They love this cold, wet weather. They'll just bloom and bloom and bloom. You can put them in. You can put them on the sunny side of your house, and then when it starts getting really hot, move them to the shady side of your house and come back in with petunias. And you can almost get a year-round floral thing with using pansies by just moving them around. Perennials can go in right now. Lots of different perennials can go in. You can get your daylilies in. You can get pretty much anything that's a perennial can go in right now. It's a good time to get them in. They get rooted in, get situated before the heat hits them. Shrubs, flowering trees. And if you're moving anything, if you're moving rose bushes or trees or shrubs or anything like that, this is a great time to get them moved because they're still dormant. You can pick them up and move them without shocking them too much. I wouldn't move peonies right now because you'll affect the bloom on them.
Okay. With all this moisture, Vicki, does this kind of have a prelude of maybe a lot of pests are going to be around this year with a lot of moisture, a lot of bugs, a lot of bad things, or not?
Well, we are going to, we didn't have a real tough winter at all. It wasn't one that stayed, and we had some cold days, but it wasn't, like the old-fashioned winters that stayed colder than cold for a month or two to kill bugs and stuff. Yes, we're going to have bugs this year. There's no doubt. We seem to get more and more every year. With all this wet spring, that can bring the funguses back up too. So when it starts to get warm, it has a tendency to spur that on. I would recommend everybody doing their trees with some fungicide right now and stop anything that has carried over from last year. Get a jump on the fungus type situation. Get the tree branch. That's like with the dormant oil, and then put a fungicide with it, or come back in with a fungicide on your trees, rose bushes, all that type of thing. And this is a good time to get your pruning done, except for forsythia. Don't prune your forsythia until after they bloom, or you'll cut all your blossoms off.
I can't even say it, let alone prune them.
Well, they're the little yellow ones that are out blooming, the bushes that are all solid yellow all the way to the ground. They're the bushes that are blooming right now. They're very, very pretty. But if you do a lot of pruning on them late in the fall or early in the spring, you cut your blooms off. You don't have you wait until after they bloom, then you shape them at that point in time.
I was listening to this lady that was on this gardening segment over the weekend, and she was saying something about with the raised gardens, going back to those again, it makes it easier to get younger kids and children interested in gardening. What are your thoughts on that?
Kids love to garden, and if you can build them a little raised bed of their own and let them grow some of the things that they like, say they like to eat peas, let them put a few peas in and some carrots, and the accomplishment that they get, they just love it. They'll take care of it usually, and it teaches them a lot about growing things and a little bit of responsibility. But yeah, kids love it, and a lot of young families, they do different ones to where they'll have different beds for the different, for different kids, to where they all have their own little, they have their own little area to do things in.
Right. Okay, it's time for Vicky's Word to the Garden Wise. This week, what are you going to tell us for your gardening tips?
Well, with all of this rain that we've had, we've got a lot of really wet dirt. Don't get out with your rototillers now. It's too wet. Wait till you can take a hold of that dirt, make a ball in your fist, and it'll break easily. You don't want to get in on mud because you'll have clods that you will never get rid of all summer long. You need to have moisture but not mud when you go to till in a garden.
Absolutely. And any specials right now over at Vicky's Country Gardens?
Well, we've got our baskets are getting ready for Mother's Day. Everybody's tagging baskets right now, so if you're wanting something like that, we've got them ready to go. We've got some awesome blackberries, raspberries, all that type of stuff. It's a good time to get them out and get them going. Strawberries, you name it, we've got it. We're ready, and we've got 3 more trucks coming this week with fruit trees, and if I'm alive by the end of the week after 3 more trucks, it'll be interesting.
Well, yeah, I think it's great that you're trying to feed all the magpies with the blueberries and the blackberries and everything.
There you go. We got to keep them magpies going. Bless their little pea-picking heart anyhow.
No, we do not. Well, listen, what are the hours over there at Vicky's Country Garden? Tell everybody.
All right. Right now we are open from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and 10 to 4 on Saturdays. But as this thing warms up, we're going to be probably staying a little bit longer. If our cars are here, we're here. So
okay. And
come on in and see us, and we'll get you set up with whatever you need.
If you see a lady that is blowing in the breeze of 40 to 50 mile-an-hour winds, holding on to the knot, somebody please come help her.
There you go. And like I say, I'm working on my surprise to get it put out on my lawn. So as soon as I get it out there, I'll let you know.
I can't wait. Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. God bless you. Thanks. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Hey, thanks, Zeb. Have a good week.
I love that lady. She does a great job. Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. Thank you. And by the way, I want to stress, if you've got questions about anything regarding gardening, please bail me out a little bit and help me ask her. Send them to my email, zebattheranch@hotmail.com. Once again, zebattheranch@hotmail.com, and we'll ask Vicky every Monday at 10:30. Okay? Right now, it's time for our weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats. And following this, by the way, get ready. Give me a call. I'd like to talk to you about anything you want to visit about the last couple of minutes of the program. 436-2244. Now to the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Check out all the delicious meats, whether it's the tri-tips or whether it's the marinated pork ribs or all the different kinds of delicious bacon or bratwurst, breakfast sausages. It's all there at Scarrows Meats. Call Don. Talk to the crew at 324-7657. Scarrows Meats over in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like it's going to be another wet week. Here is your weather forecast. We are expecting mostly cloudy skies for today. A little bit breezy, winds out of the southwest, right around 6 miles an hour. We do have a 30% chance of rain showers today, and we are looking at a high of 58. Tonight, 80% chance of rain showers, slightly breezy, expecting a low of 40 tomorrow. 40% chance of showers in the morning. Looking at cloudy skies throughout the day. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour and a high of 54. By Wednesday, mostly sunny skies and 58. Thursday, sunny and 65. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. Brought to everybody this hour by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Again, that telephone number, 324-7657. Don Scarrow and his excellent staff at Scarro's Meats, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to reiterate that I've been asking for ministers and church leaders to give me a call on this program. Lots of things to talk over about societal ills, but also this being Holy Week. And just wanted to have some thoughts from these folks in regards to the different churches and denominations and, of course, Holy Week this week. Palm Sunday yesterday and Maundy Thursday on Thursday, Good Friday on this Friday, and then, of course, Sunday, Easter Sunday. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Zeb, Earl, my thought on that was maybe reach out to some clergymen that have been out on our military front lines.
That's an excellent thought. Earl, wait a minute. Let me ask you something. And I think you'll know and you will agree with me that I've put out the plea for a long, long time about the clergy to get involved and call this program. I don't know what else to do. I'm sick and tired of them in general and en masse not trying to be a part of the community and explain their thoughts on various society ills. Like I said a moment ago, I think that they're integral and very important that they become more involved. Your thoughts?
Faith, Zeb, is what gets us through this life.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the way I was taught, and give it our best.
Well, I agree with that.
I just wondered if there's any military clergymen that are out there that's been on the front lines that maybe could get on the program. I wouldn't know how to outreach for them.
You know, you just, when you bring this up, I was watching, and I didn't watch a lot of it because I didn't have a lot of time, but this weekend there was a special segment on one of the channels, the World War II in color. And I noticed that one of the segments was of the clergy working with the troops over in the Japanese front of World War II. And it was outstanding. I mean, those gentlemen and ladies really got involved and were such an asset to our troops. And I think your point is very well taken, and I'll pursue that. Earl, I thank you for that.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Zeb.
God bless you. Happy Easter, too, by the way. Thank you. Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Good man right there. And calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Just a quick note. There were some in the audience this last week that they waited till the program was over and then they chewed me out. Some were complaining about me being so pro-vaccinations. Well, I'm not going to quit. I am going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until I think the legislature is going to toughen this thing up so that you are going to find it very hard-pressed to try to get your children into school if they're not vaccinated. Listen to these numbers. I didn't make these up. They came from the Associated Press. The measles outbreak in Madagascar killed more than 1,200 children. Think about that. And then think about you're sitting there so smug and acting like you know more about vaccinations than doctors and medical science do. 1,200 children, 1,200 killed in measles outbreaks. Do you want that here in the United States? Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, about this vaccination thing. When I see my little girl or my boys and they're hurting because they just don't feel good and their temperature's way up there, and I lay awake at night just praying that they'll be okay, how could any parent look at their kid and say, well, I'm just not willing to take the chance, the far, far, far minuscule chance that you're going to develop something from immunization to keep you safe?
I'll even go one more than that, Riley. I read a story, and Wheels, again, we've got severe feedback on the line. I read a story about how some parents are taking purposely their children to a home of children that has already been exposed and has measles so that they can expose their children to get rid of the disease. Holy smokes, to me, that's child abuse.
Yeah, it's the poor little kids. Come on. I mean, that's the reason why the vaccination came up with, so they don't have to endure that hell.
Absolutely.
You dealt with polio, and I'm thankful that I didn't have to. Imagine what it'd be like to wonder if your kid's going to get that and run through it. That is why science has helped us almost eradicate it. Now people won't get their kids vaccinated. To me, that's just heartbreaking and irresponsible as a parent.
I agree with you, and very well stated, Riley. Thank you very, very much for your call. Thank you. When I read this story about 1,200 being subjected to and dying from measles because they were unvaccinated, I thought the lunacy and the total lack of respect and regard for human life, your children's life, and not vaccinating your children, and we could possibly see an outbreak in this country where there have already been hundreds upon hundreds of measles outbreaks reported. Please, parents, use common sense. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And right now, all 7 locations are serving you with a great big spring tire sale. Oh, my goodness. You can save a lot of money on the tires for your car, pickups, and SUVs. All the different tread designs, all the sizes, like the Ultra Z900 passenger car tire. Whoa! Up to 80,000-mile warranty and mud and snow designation. This really is a great tire for your cars. And don't forget, for your pickups and SUVs, the Open Country AT2. They're on sale. You can save a lot of money. You'd better get in there today. The best of brake service and front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, all of this and more with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We've got to get out of here and run right now for today. Oxymoron, me run. And we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. And let's all make America great again. And the world needs more cowboys. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06, Zabbath Ranch.